time, there was an honest, helpful, clumsy, angry, bossy girl called Priscob Goblin. She was on the way to see her friend Trapty, when she decided to take a shortcut through Greenwood's forest. It wasn't long before Priscob got lost. She looked around, but all she could see were trees. Nervously, she felt into her bag for her favorite toy, Terence the Moose. But Terence the Moose was nowhere to be found. Priscob began to panic. She felt sure she had packed Terence the Moose. To make matters worse, she was starting to feel hungry. Unexpectedly, she saw an opportunistic lizard dressed in a green elf hat disappearing into the trees. How odd, thought Priscob. For the want of anything better to do, she decided to follow the peculiarly dressed lizard. Perhaps it could tell him the way out of the forest. Reached a clearing. In the clearing were 3 houses, one made from lettuces, one made from butter, and one made from honey. Priscob could feel her tummy rumbling. Looking at the houses did nothing to ease her hunger. "Hello," she called. "Is anybody there?" Nobody replied. Priscob looked at the roof on the closet's house and wondered if it would be rude to eat somebody else's chimney. Obviously, it would be impolite to eat a whole house, but perhaps it would be considered acceptable to nibble the odd fixture or lick the odd fitting in a time of need. A cackle broke through the air, giving Priscob a fright. "Terence the Moose!" shouted Priscob. She turned to the witch. "That's my toy." The witch just scratched. "Give Terence the Moose back," cried Priscob. "Not on your Nelly," said the witch. "At least the Terence the Moose out of that cage." Before she could reply, 2 opportunistic lizards rushed in from a footpath on the other side of the clearing. Priscob recognized the one in the green elf hat that she'd seen earlier. That witch seemed to recognize him too. "Hello, big lizard," said the witch. "Good morning." The lizard noticed Terence the Moose. "Who is this?" "That's Terence the Moose," explained the witch. "Oh, Terence the Moose would look lovely in my house. Give it to me," demanded the lizard. The witch shook her head. Terence the Moose's lizard ignored her. "Is there nothing you'll trade?" he asked the witch. The witch thought for a moment, then said, "I do. Like to be entertained. I'll release him to anybody who can eat a whole front door." Big Lizard looked at the house made from honey and said, "No problem. I could eat an entire house made from honey if I wanted to." "That's nothing," said the next lizard. "I could eat 2 houses." "There's no need to show off," said the witch. "Just eat one front door and I'll let you have Terence the Moose." Priscob watched, feeling very worried. She didn't think Terence the Moose would like living with an opportunistic lizard, away from her house and all her other toys. The other 1 lizards watched while Big Lizard put on his bib and withdrew a knife and fork from his pocket. "I'll eat this whole house," said Big Lizard. "Just you watch." Big Lizard pulled off a corner of the front door of the house made from butter. He gulped it down, smiling, and went back for more and more and more. Eventually, Big Lizard started to get bigger, just a little bit bigger at first. But after a few more forkfuls of butter, he grew to the size of a large snowball, and he was every bit as round. "I don't feel too good," said Big Lizard. Suddenly, he started to roll. He'd grown so round that he could no longer balance. "Help!" he cried, as he rolled off down a slope into the forest. Big Lizard never finished eating the front door. made from butter, and Terence the moose remained trapped in the witch's cage. Average Lizard stepped out and approached the house made from honey. "I'll eat this whole house," said Average Lizard. "Just you watch." Average Lizard stepped out. Average Lizard pulled off a corner of the front door of the house made from down smiling and went back for more and more and more. After a while, Average Lizard started to look a little queasy. She grew greener and greener. A woodcutter walked into the clearing. "What's this bush doing here?" "Those taking bushes are the worst kind. I'd better take it away before somebody gets hurt." "No, wait," cried Average Lizard. As the woodcutter picked her up, in the front door made from honey, and Terence the moose remained trapped in the witch's cage. "That's it," said the witch. "I win. I get to keep Terence the moose." "Not so fast," said Priscob. There is still one front door to go, the front door of the house made from lettuces, and I haven't had that turn yet." "I don't have to give you a turn," laughed the witch. "My game, my rules." The woodcutter's voice carried through the forest. "I think you should give her a chance. It's only fair." "Fine," said the witch, "but you saw what happened to the lizard. She won't last long." "I'll be right back," said Priscob. "What?" said the witch. "Where's your sense of impatience? I thought you wanted Terence the moose back." Priscob ignored the witch and gathered a healthy pile of sticks. She came back to the clearing and started a small campfire. Carefully, she broke off a piece of the door of the house made from lettuce and toasted it over the fire. Once it had cooked and cooled just a little, she took a bite. She quickly devoured the whole piece. Priscob sat down on a nervy log. "You failed," cackled the witch. "You were supposed to eat the whole door." "I haven't finished," explained Priscob. "I am just waiting for my food to go down." Food had digested. She broke off another piece of the door made from lettuces. Once more. She ate it at a leisurely pace, then waited for it to digest. Eventually, after several sittings, Priscob was down to the final piece of the door made from lettuces. Carefully, she toasted it and allowed it to cool just a little. She finished her final course. Priscob had eaten the entire front door of the house made from lettuces. The witch stamped her foot angrily. "You must have tricked me," she said. "I don't reward cheating." "I don't think so," said a voice. It was the woodcutter. He walked back into the clearing carrying his axe. "This little girl won fair and square. Now hand over Terence the moose, or I will chop your broomstick in half." The witch looked horrified. Then, huffing, she opened the door of the cage. Priscob hurried over and grabbed Terence the moose, checking that her favorite toy was all right. Fortunately, Terence the moose was unharmed. Priscob thanked the woodcutter, grabbed a quick sorbet, and hurried off to meet Trapty. It was starting to get dark. When Priscob got to Trapty's house, her friend threw her arms around her. "I was so worried," cried Trapty. "You are very late." Priscob described her day. She could tell that Trapty didn't believe her, so she grabbed a napkin from her pocket. "What's that?" asked Trapty. Priscob unwrapped a doorknob made from butter. "Pudding," she said. Trapty almost fell off her chair. The end.